Hi, this is Brandon from Watches on You. Today, I wanted to discuss some of the differences between the Seiko SKX007 and the Seiko SNZF17, also known as the Sea Urchin. So, right off the bat, I want to let you know I'll be leaving a link to the cheapest links I can find on Amazon for each of these watches in the description, so definitely check those out if you want to purchase one of these pieces. So now let's dive into the watches. And at first, I'm going to give a rundown, just a quick rundown of each of the watches, and with their most essential facts. So the Seiko SKX007 is powered by the Seiko 7S26 movement. It's got a 42.5 millimeter diameter and a 22 millimeter lug width. And the water resistance rating is 200 meters, and it is an ISO certified dive watch. The SNZF17 is not a certified or ISO certified dive watch. It has a case diameter of 41 millimeters and a water resistance of only 100 meters. So now we're going to go into kind of why I prefer the Seiko SKX007 over the SNZF17. So one thing that is definitely going to be in the comments is the price difference between these. Now, the price difference is about $70, so the SKX007 on the rubber costs around $200 depending on where you get it, and the SNZF17, which of course comes on a bracelet, is around $140. You can also get the SKX007 on a bracelet, but it costs about $20 more. The reason I didn't get it on a bracelet when I purchased this watch is because I've heard some bad things about the Jubilee bracelet that comes with this piece, although I will agree that I think it looks a little bit better on the Jubilee bracelet, but I planned on customizing it with different straps and things anyways, so it didn't really matter to me. So one reason I prefer the SKX007 over the SNZF17 is the fact that it has, just the finishing feels a lot higher end. So, for example, one thing that I'm going to cite, and I cited this in my review of this watch, which, again, will be linked in the description. I feel like I'm saying that a lot during this video, so sorry about that. But one thing that I like about this is the beveling on the crystal. So as you can see, it adds this very cool kind of magnification-like effect. It's not really magnification, but it kind of adds that effect. It looks really, really nice. And I think that overall just the finishing is a lot better on this piece. I like how the bezel, I like the text on the bezel a lot more than on the SNZF17, just because, it's a lot broader on this, and I just think that doesn't really make it as classy as the SKX007, and it's a bit Submariner homage-ish, if I can say that. I just don't really like that. And also, the bezel has kind of a strange feel to it. It has like an aluminum or steel. It's a metal. It's basically painted metal, which is the same on this, but it just has a little bit of a cheaper feel on this. And again, there's no beveling on the crystal, so it definitely looks a little cheaper. I actually prefer the action on this a little bit over the SKX007. The lockup is about the same on each of them, but the click is a lot louder on this, and it moves a little bit smoother on the SNZF17. So that's, again, one thing I prefer about this. Now, one thing that I don't like about both of these watches is the fact that they are not hand wound, and I feel like they should have included hand winding on these watches, just because the power reserve is about the same. The movements are extremely similar between these two. On the SKX007, it has the 7S26 movement, and the 7S36 movement is on the SNZF17. And the difference between these is 2 joules. The SKX007 has 21 joules, and the SNZF17 has 23 joules. But the 2 joules, people have deconstructed the movements, and they're actually non-functional, so they don't really make a difference, which is why the power reserves are very similar between these two. But again, I definitely prefer I would have preferred if these are hand winding. And again, you can get hand winding Seikos, but they cost a little bit more with regards to their divers. But another reason I just prefer the SNK SNK007 is just, I think that overall the design looks a little bit better. Again, I kind of said that this is a little bit Submariner homage-ish, and I'll confess, I bought this before I bought the SKX007. I mean, you see the tags are still on there, but I'm very, very pleased with the SKX007, and I think the quality is a lot better. I think that, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. I mean, you can see in the video, there are certain things that are actually better about the SNZ. For example, the date wheel has a black background, and I think that looks better than the white background on the SKX007. But still, it just feels looks a lot nicer. The watches, so the size difference between the two, I haven't really gotten into that. They wear about the same size, even though the SNZ, I'd actually say the SNZ wears a little bit bigger, even though it's 1.5 millimeters smaller in diameter. I think that that's probably because the bezel is so thick on this compared to the SKX007. And I'll be doing a wrist shot right now of both of these watches. So both of these watches are very, very comfortable. The SNK007 on the rubber is just, I mean, it's a rubber strap. It's extremely comfortable, can be used for diving. It's just absolutely wonderful. And then on the SNZ007, the bracelet, for how cheap the watch is, it's actually not bad. It's very thick. I mean, it looks very nice. It doesn't actually scratch that easily or show scratches, which I was quite impressed with. You have kind of a two-tiered layer of security, so you have this little latch here, and then you have to push these buttons in, and then the clasp opens up. And actually, one other thing, the SNZF17 has a clear case back, but I mean the 7S36 movement, as you can see, isn't very pretty or finished well, so that doesn't really matter. I like to call this type of finishing Shenzhen striping. I think that's a great term with it. It's basically when they don't put finishing on a movement, but that's what I call it. And then on the SKX007, I haven't even taken the blue off, but you can see it has this very cool engraving, and that's a little bit classier. I mean, I think that a movement shouldn't be shown unless it's finished well, and obviously it's not on the SNZ. But I'll move on to the wrist shot. So this watch is also very comfortable. I was very impressed with actually how comfortable the bracelet feels on this piece. I mean, it's great. For the price, I have never felt a bracelet that's as, I mean, high-end feeling, to be honest with you, as this one. So if you like this video, please remember to subscribe and share.